welcome to episode 122 of the Hurricane Mike Show, where we're gonna be talking. Hey Jerry, I already see you in the chat. Be talking about lots of stuff here about LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. And Dad, before the season gets started, something came to my realization. Every team in every division has a chance. In the NFC South, only 3 of those teams have a chance. Because why, Dad?
Because there's one that sucked. They happen to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes, they do. Yeah, Jerry's already blowing up the chat saying, fellas, who that nation, F the Falcons, amen. And I watched the video and it was funny. That it was, yeah, that was. It's weird.
I'm gonna have to go watch it.
I was making a video because the past days, right, I've been making videos on predicting the everybody's record, and I want to say 2 days ago, I don't know, it was a couple days ago. It was the Falcons' turn, so I had to give them some work. So yeah. Anyways, so now let's get started, and let's start with the main question that a lot of Saints fans are starting to feel: are the New Orleans Saints a sleeper team, Dad? I'm gonna start with you. Are they a sleeper?
Man, they are knocked out. They are doing some sleeping on the New Orleans Saints. I mean, we got some experts saying they might not win a game. We got Vegas saying they might win one game against the Jets. They got us losing twice to the Falcons. Come on now. So, yeah, they are sleeping on the Saints. I think the Saints are going to show them something this year. I think we are going to get some good quarterback play out of these 2 youngsters. And, yeah, I think our defense is going to be legit, too. They are sleeping on us, baby. Who that, Jerry?
Yeah. Look, I've been saying that, bro, the Saints, they're going to shock everybody this year, okay? Yeah, Jerry says keep that same energy. You know what? Here's what I'm going to say. Everybody, and you know who you are. You know who you are. Everybody that says the Saints are in a terrible situation, saying the Saints are going to be the worst team in the league, come back to any of these shows before the season. We tried to tell y'all, okay? We tried to tell y'all. Yeah. All right, the Nola Chop Podcast, a.k.a. Kai the Great 84. Shout out to Kai. He said, let me see. He said, let them sleep. The Saints, let them sleep. This Saints team going to be low-key good. Believe that. That's what I'm saying, man. Let them sleep, bro. But when the Saints surprise everybody, I don't want to hear it because everybody's like, oh, you're a bandwagon fan because now that your team's good, you're a band. Man, bro, we started this show a year ago, bro. We ain't no bandwagons over here. I don't know who you think you are. But, yeah.
Let me just say one thing before we get rolling. That the Nola Chop Podcast, my boy right here, that's some good stuff, bro. I was listening to some of his videos. Need to go check them out. Some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, some good stuff, man. Good stuff. Just like the entire Saints community, man. From him, Hoodie, Dolph, everybody, man. We probably have the most interactive fan base in the entire NFL, probably. But anyways, the Saints they're gonna sleep on it. And honestly, I've been trying to not say this because I don't want to sound biased, but I'm gonna say it right now. Saints are gonna win 10 games this year. Book it. I've been trying to keep it inside of me because I didn't want to sound biased or delusional. Saints win 10 games this year, and you can believe that.
Man. Say what you really feel.
You can believe that.
On the Hurricane Mike Show.
Yeah, Kai says appreciate y'all. Jerry says the best in the world. Yeah, yep. Anyways, but yeah, that was some. But anyways, now we gotta talk about some news, because that was just like our opinions. But now we gotta talk about some news. As the past week, new Saints helmets leaked. Unfortunately, I can't show it on this thing because I'm doing it from somewhere else. But I have a question, Dad. Will this be another uniform bust, or do you think this uniform could actually go well with the Saints?
Man, I'm an old school guy. I like the old school uniform, but that helmet is tight. You talking about the white one?
Mm-hmm.
There's an all black one too that looks pretty tight, but I don't know how often they're gonna wear them. Maybe one game this year. I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah, I like the helmet too. You know, because like whenever you're watching on the television, your favorite team play, you don't want them playing in some we don't care, all right? Like you don't want them playing no high school uniform. So it's like because like, whenever I'm playing Madden, right, I go through uniforms and I try to make the cleanest uniforms ever because I'm not just trying to be like, okay, let's watch this. No, I'm trying to make this thing fire, and that's what I think the helmets are. Jerry says he loves the Saints helmet, and now the uniforms will be revealed next Tuesday. Yeah, I saw that. We're probably depending on when the show goes, depending on when next week's show will be, and when they release the helmet, we might be talking about that next week. They need to bring back the old school gold jerseys. That's what I've been saying for years, bro. Like those gold uniforms, man. It's like I don't know if they're in the latest Madden, but I remember a couple years ago, every single time I would like play with the Saints, I would always bring out those gold uniforms, like back in like I don't know when they were around. I want to say it might have been around the Dome Patrol era, but them gold uniforms were fire and slick, bro.
They're tight. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, now we gotta talk about some Pelicans, man. We just gotta do it. We gotta do it. So now the Pelicans, right? We're gonna get into summer league later in the show, but people are still saying that the Pelicans need to get like a veteran guard. So I got two names for you. Shoot, hit the wrong thing. Let's see. Okay, so would you be interested in bringing Russell Westbrook, who is yet to be signed, or Malcolm Brogdon to be the answer for the veteran guard role to like mentor guys like Jordan Poole and etc.
I like Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not sure about Russell Westbrook. I don't know if he has enough left in the tank. I mean, even if he does, I mean, some of his little attitude outbursts over the years is kind of a turn off. I don't know if we need that with this particular team. I think we need more leadership. I think Malcolm Brogdon can bring that to the table to mentor. He can even come off the bench and be a good guy in the locker room. I mean, so give me some MB.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I would look. I'm not. Look, I think Brogdon's a good player. I would personally though sign Russell Westbrook because it's like he's won an MVP before, and I'm not saying he's gonna be the same Westbrook. What I'm saying is that he has experience of being like the best in the world almost. Like I don't really know if there's really a year where he was the best player in the league, but he has experience being around the top of the crop. Malcolm Brogdon, he won 6 Man of the Year before. So like we know he can hoop. But I think I would rather be comfortable with Russell Westbrook because he's had great experience and he's played with great teammates, whether that's Kevin Durant, James Harden. Did he play with Chris Paul or am I thinking of James Harden? I don't freaking know. But yeah. So yeah. I like Westbrook, but I don't think he's the right fit. Brogdon might be the better option. Yeah, look, look, if the Pelicans sign Malcolm Brogdon, I ain't gonna cry. No, in fact, I'll actually be happy. But if I had to choose one, it would be Westbrook. All right, Jared says he agrees with Kai. All right, but now I saw Hoodie talk about this the other night, and it was actually interesting that which Saints rookies, okay, do you think will make the biggest and quickest impact? Not rookies that you think will be good like 5 years from now, but what rookies do you think from 2025 all the way to whenever, like their last season, who do you think will make the quickest and biggest impact?
Well, that number one pick has to come in there and be a solid left tackle right off the bat. I mean, it's in our best interest for the quarterback to be the best rookie. I mean, that will make us a good team this year. But we definitely got to get that line solidified, or it doesn't matter what the quarterback's going to do. He's going to be running for his life. That's what he's going to do. So definitely looking for that rookie out of Texas.
Yeah, Connor's in the chat. What's up, Connor? And Kai says Danny Stutzman. Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah.
So I have a few guys, right, that I think will make the biggest and quickest impact. Kelvin Banks, because like you got to think about it. Banks, he's playing alongside Talisa Fuaga, which was last year's first round pick. And like when it comes to like tackle play, Kelvin Banks, right, was at Texas. He was probably, arguably a top 3 or 4 tackle in the nation. Tyler Shuck, he would be the one. I'm not going to say Tyler Shuck yet because it's like we need him to win the QB1 job first. But another guy that I think is getting a little slept on, I won't be shocked if Fadil Diggs. If y'all remember our last pick, Fadil Diggs, I think he could be the one. Like, and obviously I'm not choosing him here because I think it's gonna be long term. I'm not choosing him here, but I'm just letting y'all know about Fadil Diggs. Don't sleep on him. But a guy to make an impact from day one all the way to the end of time or whatever. I think Danny Stutzman is probably the favorite other than Kelvin Banks because Danny Stutzman, right? The Saints linebacker room, except for DeMario and Pete, is kind of weak. So we would just need, it would definitely be helpful for Danny Stutzman. Jerry says just listen to Trace and Danny Stutzman and his dad Steve. Yeah, we'll just have to see about Danny. Yeah, so that's my answer. But now let's take y'all back to school, folks. Yeah. Also, we can't sleep on Devin Neal. That is true. But like I said, I try to refrain from saying someone that's currently in like a position battle because we need to see if they're going to actually win their battle. Like Neal, and plus I said like long term. I understand. Like I definitely think Devin Neal is going to be good long term. But I said I'm talking about quickest, and he's not even going to start. So But guys, we got to take y'all back to school because shout out to Matt Be Great because he actually made a video about this the other day. There's an LSU QB that a lot of people forgot about. What happened to Zach Mettenberger? Dad, do you remember some Zach Mettenberger?
I do remember Zach Mettenberger, and he had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I don't know if he's still hanging around, but I think he was with Tennessee for a while. Might have been with another team. But, I was a big Zach Mettenberger fan when he was at LSU, and, I don't think things really panned out in the NFL for him.
Yeah. Well, we're going to, to whoever doesn't know about him, we're going to take him to school now. So he was a 4-star recruit, and Mettenberger, at one point in his life when he was younger, was sentenced to 2 concurrent 12-month periods, which is a year, if y'all know, of probation under the state's First Offender Act. Miller, I don't know who the frick Miller is, but Miller said Mettenberger also was ordered to pay $2,000 in fines and perform 40 hours of community service and was banished from the city of Valdosta and is to have no contact with the victim. So apparently he did something to somebody. But yeah, so he was already coming with a lot of like baggage, like where it's like, okay, he's probably going to be a locker room cancer. But then he started playing and it was like, okay. Week 1 of his first season, beat North Texas 41-14, beat Washington 41-3, went ahead and beat Idaho 63-14, then beat Auburn in the defensive sluggish game, but they pulled out the win 12-10. Week 5, they beat Towson 38-22. Then they ended up losing their first game to number 10 Florida 14-6. But then they beat number 3 South Carolina 23-21, and then the next game against Alabama was probably one of his better games. However, it did come in a loss. He was 24 for 35, 298 yards, 8.5 average, 1 touchdown, no picks, and a 95.1 QBR against Alabama. And then their next game, they beat number 18 Texas A&M 24-19. But like I said, actually that was the game after Bama, or no, before Bama. Then they lost to number 9 Alabama 21-17, but he had those stats, so he actually played pretty well. And then beat number 21 Mississippi State 37-17. And then went ahead and had 2 basically free wins at the end of the year, beating Ole Miss 41-35 and Arkansas 20-13. They were close for some reason, but So we finished with a 10-2 record. And then we went ahead and played in the Chick-fil-A Bowl against number 14 Clemson, where we lost by a point, 25-24. So our final record was 10-3, and we were 6-2 in the SEC. So Zach Mettenberger started out pretty well. The next season, started the season beating number 20 TCU 37-27, beat UAB 56-17, beat Kent State 45-13, beat Auburn 35-21. Had a great game, but then lost to number 9 Georgia 44-41. The defenses are like, hey, we're just going to sleep in that game. Zach Menberger, though, had a great game against Georgia, probably one of his better games his entire college career, as he was 23 for 37, 372 yards, 10.1 average, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and an 89.6 QBR. Went ahead and beat Mississippi State 59-26, beat number 17 Florida 17-6, then lost to Ole Miss 27-24, beat Furman 48-16, then got killed by number 1 Alabama 38-17, beat number 12 Texas A&M 34-10, and then beat Arkansas 31-27, and in the Outback Bowl beat Iowa 21-14. So finished with another record of 10-3, and this time 5-3 in the SEC. And then there comes draft day, where Zach Menberger got drafted in the 6th round, pick 178 in the 2014 draft by the Tennessee Titans. You know, he was 6'5", 224. So he was kind of like a middle. He was kind of like a Josh Allen, you know, a quarterback that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but he's kind of like the Josh Allen build, you know. But then 2014, his rookie year with the Titans, he didn't really get that much playing time anyway, and he didn't really do anything with the play at the time he got. As he played in 7 games and started 6 with an 0-6 record. He was 107. He was 107 for 179 that season. 59.8% completion percentage, had 1,412 yards, 8 TDs, a 4.5 touchdown percentage, and 7 interceptions. 2015 with the Titans wasn't really much better. In fact, it probably got worse. As he played 7 games, started 4, 0-4 record, was 101 for 166, a 60.8% percentage, 935 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2.4 touchdown percentage, and 7 interceptions. So now the reason I'm telling you all this, I have a question. What do you think happened with Zach Menberger? Why did he not really do well in the NFL?
Well, some make it, some don't. I mean, sometimes it's just that easy. I mean, he had some talent, as you rattled off those numbers at LSU, you know, playing in a dominant conference against some, you know, dominant teams. He had great games. He had some great tools. But he was picked in the 6th round for a reason, maybe because of some of that baggage. But, I didn't know about all the baggage, actually. So, you know, maybe they did, and, you know, they was going to give him a chance in the 6th round. Just never panned out for him.
Yeah, in fact, he actually kind of reminds me of Shedeur Sanders. You know, a guy that some people looked at a great quarterback, but fell in the draft because personal stuff. So, I don't know. You know, Zach Menberger, I think, look, obviously I wasn't watching him when he was at LSU because that was like around 2013, 2012, something like that. So, I mean, I just think it's pretty obvious, you know, some guys, like, when the NFL atmosphere, I feel like the lights just were too bright for Zach. But I don't know what he's doing now, but I hope he's having a great life. Anyways, next. If y'all know this guy, Matt Moscona, he has the show called After Further Review. And La'el Collins hinted at coming to the Saints. Let's see. The Nola Chop Podcast said, I started my own fantasy league, family. Mike, I already seen you join, but if anybody else want to join, I got 7 spots open. I'm going to put a link in the chat. First come, first serve. All right, so if anyone wants, yeah, and I saw it last night before I actually went. Ironically, that was actually the last thing I did before I went to bed. So, you know, because I was making some. So, you know, so if I didn't see it at that time, this would be fresh news. But, yeah, so if anyone wants to join kind of the great 84's fantasy league, you know, join. I'm still going to beat everybody, but, hey, you can still join just for fun. Anyways, no, I'm playing. Maybe. Anyways, all right, so back on topic. La'el Collins to the Saints. Do you see a reunion with Kellen Moore? Because obviously, you know, Collins played with Dallas when Moore was there, and also former LSU star. So do you see a world where La'el Collins is playing for the Saints come week 1 against Arizona?
I definitely can see that world. I mean, I believe we do need to beef up the line a little bit in the middle, whether it's as far as depth goes or maybe outside shot at a starting gig. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, the more we can get of good players on that line, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to see Lyle Collins really play ever again because he hasn't played since 2022 or 2023. So, like, I mean, does he still have more in the tank? Maybe, but I mean, he was a former LSU offensive tackle from 2011, 2014, but then he got drafted. Well, he was actually undrafted, but got picked up by Dallas, and then I think he went to Cincinnati afterwards, and I know he spent time on the Bills practice squad, but it's like, okay. But anyways, so I don't really think we will sign him. Like, I won't be mad if we sign him, but I feel like the Saints' offensive line room is really crowded right now. But we'll have to see. Anyways, earlier today we were talking about rookies to make the biggest impact quicker. But who do you think has to prove to be the next man up?
Well, I think that's the same question. You just asking it differently now. But
It's like because the guy with the biggest impact is like immediately. But who's someone that you think has to prove that people are not really looking at, but has to prove to be the next man up?
Well, I guess I would go with the running back we took. I mean, I think we have a good stable of running backs, and Alvin Kamara is getting a little long in the tooth, as they say. And so he's gonna have a shot for some playing time this year, and he's gonna have to prove it starting in training camp, which is just around the corner. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Man, you know how much conversations I've had to have with my family? Oh no, I'm playing. But bro, I need football real bad. But yeah, I think Tyler Shuck is gonna have to prove himself because, Kai says Jonas Sanker, bro. I forgot about Jonas Sanker. I ain't gonna lie. But I think Tyler Shuck obviously has to prove himself. I know it's not the most interesting answer, but he has to prove himself, right? Because I saw one video the other day, might have been last week, where some guy was giving his like award predictions, but he made up some awards, and he said the biggest bust is gonna be Tyler Shuck. And I watched that, and I'm like, first of all, you can't be a bust if everyone thinks you're trash, bro. I don't think anybody. I may have seen two human beings that are not Saints fans to give Tyler Shuck any credit. It's like, bro, what does Shuck do? For how people talk about Tyler Shuck, you would think you would think he murders kittens for fun. Like, bro, what does Shuck do to y'all? Well, he's 25 years old, so now he's a grandpa. Like, bro, come on, man. So yeah, Tyler Shuck, he has to prove to a lot of people. But yeah, anyways, all right. Next thing, do you think whoever wins the QB battle, whether that's Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler, do you think mobility can bring third down success? Because if you're going to win the NFL, you got to win on third downs to keep drives going. So do you think the mobility can help on third down success?
Absolutely. Mobility. That's mean you're making plays with your legs. When the receivers are covered, you can still get out that pocket and move the chains. That's very important. And I think give the edge to Rattler with that one. But I think Shuck can move too. I've seen him play a little bit in college. He can move too.
Yeah. I don't really. Whenever I talk about Tyler Shuck, I don't think mobility really comes to mind. But I'm not saying he's kind of like. Honestly, he's kind of like a Patrick Mahomes. I'm not. Before y'all come at me, I'm not comparing Shuck to Patrick Mahomes. That's not what I'm doing. But he kind of reminds me of a Patrick Mahomes, a guy that isn't really known for his legs, but he will use his legs if he needs to. So I think, if he can do that, I think the Saints could be successful on third downs. I know last year we were kind of better on third downs than the year before, but to be honestly, I try to block out last season from my entire memory. So, we'll just see how that goes. All right, next thing. Can the Saints outperform expectations? Because we talked about the first thing in the show, how the Saints are getting slept on. But now, do you think that they can actually outperform expectations of winning 0 games this year?
I think we are definitely going to outperform. I mean, because right now they have us winning 1 or 2 games. I mean, if you win 3, 4, 5 games, that's outperforming what they thought you was going to do. So you have no choice but to outperform. But I'm like you. I have us winning double-digit games. Come on, now. I know Jerry likes that. Come on, now.
Yeah, bruh, man, look, like I said earlier, Saints are winning 10 games, bruh. And if you don't believe me, okay, if you don't believe me, right, let's talk about back before Sean Payton got here, right? The Saints won 3 games, okay? I understand the circumstances were different. I understand that. Saints won 3 games, and they brought in a brand new head coach that was offensive-minded, that was a player's coach, and they got to rally the troops. Whenever I think of that, Sean Payton obviously comes to mind because he is that coach. Kellen Moore, he's building team chemistry. And then the year after that, when the Saints brought in a brand new quarterback, Drew Brees, Tyler Shuck, both brand new quarterbacks, the Saints went on to win 10 games. So why can't they do it again this year? In fact, you can probably argue that this team is a better roster team than the team that did it back in 2006. The only difference is that they had Drew Brees. But, like, I'm not saying Shuck's going to be Drew Brees, but I don't think Shuck's going to – like, you can definitely do worse than a Tyler Shuck. So, yeah. The Saints going to show up and show out. They're going to outperform, and then some. Well, and then some. We're going to win 11 games easy. Yeah, I think we're going to win 10 or 11 games. Like, people are sleeping, man. People are like, oh, like, people are laughing that we took Tyler Shuck in the second round. Bruh. Okay? Come back. Come back to the show after the season. We'll see who's right. We'll see who's right. Anyone else? But, yeah. Now let's break down this offensive line for the New Orleans Saints. Okay, hold on. So, Talise Fuaga, Trevor Penning, Kelvin Banks, Cesar Ruiz, and Eric McCoy are currently your 5 starters unless someone goes down with like an injury or something happens, knock on wood. But do you think that the offensive line could be – do you think it's going to be boom or do you think it's going to be bust?
I think it's going to be boom, my brother. I think we're building something on this offensive line. We got so much invested in this offensive line. There's so many number 1 draft picks, number 2 draft picks. And, you know, the time is now. I mean, we got to stay healthy. We got to find a way to keep people healthy. I mean, last year, a lot of times we were going out with 3, 4. I think there was even a game with 5 backup offensive linemen. So we got to do better than that. I mean, they got to stay healthy. And then it's boom, baby. Boom.
Yeah. I think it's going to be boom because, like, if you look at last season when we were scoring 40 points on everybody, you know why? We had Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy is literally the quarterback of offensive lines. If you have Eric McCoy, your offensive line is going to be better, okay? I understand offensive line, you got 5 guys. But, okay, let's also talk about pressure, right? Talise Fuaga, he's having the pressure of being last year's first-round pick. Can he live up to that pick style? Trevor Penning, contract year. It's either now or never with Trevor Penning. Eric McCoy, he's still trying to, will us to victory. Cesar Ruiz, is he the guy at right guard? Kelvin Banks, once again, first-round pick. So it's like the Saints need these guys to show up. Like, I'm going to say right now, you can have the best quarterback in the league, best receiver in the league, best running back in the league, all on the same team. But if your offensive line is some of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL, you ain't going to win much games, okay? Yeah, you might still be like a solid team, but if you're getting sacked every play, you can't throw the ball from the ground, so, like, bro, come on, man. So yeah, I think it's going to be boom because I feel like, we got, new guys. I'm pretty sure we have a new offensive line coach and stuff. It's either his first year or his second year. We'll get to coaches later, but yeah, I think it's going to be boom. That's just me, though. Okay, yeah, we already went over that. So now how different do you think the Saints camp will be under Kellen Moore versus when we had, like, Dennis Allen? How do you think it's going to be different, or do you think it's just going to be the same?
I think it's going to be different. I think Kellen Moore is more of a go get 'em type of coach, and Dennis Allen was a laid back, happy go lucky guy. I got to review the tapes kind of dude there. So I don't think Kellen Moore's like that. I think he's gonna give you straight up answers, and yeah, we're gonna see a different team this year. Training camp, regular season, playoffs. We're gonna see a different team this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll give our predictions for all of the teams like at the end of like preseason, like because that week, right? That week, after the third preseason game, nothing's going on. Players are getting cut and stuff. So that's when you're gonna know the predictions. And bro, I got some bold stuff for y'all. Y'all just wait. I mean, y'all probably already know if you're watching my record prediction videos, but this year we're also gonna be predicting awards. We're gonna be predicting like Super Bowl, playoffs, man, like our playoff teams. Like, we're doing it all this year. Okay, so just be prepared. But yeah, I think camp is definitely gonna be different because it's like, I mean, you saw with Kellen Moore, taking the guy's paintball, and it's like, I think, Kellen Moore, like I said, is a player's coach. I don't really think Dennis Allen's really a player's coach. Like, I'm sorry, but when you apologize to your division rival for scoring an itty-bitty touchdown, you lost me. Nobody better have respected an ounce of that man's words after that. But Kellen Moore, I've never seen a clip of him apologizing. Like, the Eagles just blew out the Cowboys. Oh, I'm sorry, Dallas. I've never heard that. But anyways. Now let's talk about something that's been in the news for like 2 months already. Asante Samuel Jr. is once again linked to the Saints for like the 5th straight time. So, let me find it. Okay. All right, let's see here. So, the Saints have over $23 million in cap space. Keep that number in your brain. And Bleacher Report released bargain bin for free agents, guys that you can get on the low. You got quarterback Tyler Huntley, offensive tackle Jedrick Wills Jr., offensive guard Will Hernandez, linebacker Kaiser White, cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., and safety Julian Blackman. However, someone is linked to New Orleans, and that is Asante Samuel Jr., which is what this segment's all about. Asante Samuel Jr. had neck surgery in April, visited with the Saints in May, and intends to play this season. He played with Brandon Staley from 2021 to 2023. He's only 25 years old and turns 26 in October. So I have a question before we get in with all the details. Would you sign Asante Samuel Jr.?
All depends on the health, my brother. I mean, a neck surgery, that's a major thing. I mean, that's what sent Peyton Manning into retirement. So you have to watch that. You have to watch that neck. But if
Chase Young had that surgery last year. So
and plus he's young, like you said, he's not even 26 years old. He's a young corner. If he's healthy, and he's already had a visit, so we've already talked to him. Come on, Asante, come on over here. You keep being linked to it, you just soon come over here.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you heard, but his dad went on a podcast or whatnot, and bro, he bashed the heck out of the Dolphins, bro. The Dolphins are like the other team running for the Asante Samuel Jr., so maybe that's something. Maybe that's not. I don't know if that's the inner Patriot in him, because if y'all remember, Asante Samuel Sr. used to play for the Patriots, so I don't know if he's just bashing his former division rival, but I don't know. Maybe that's something to watch out for. So, but anyways, I would sign Asante Samuel Jr. because, look, the corner room is probably the weakest position group on the entire team right now. I mean, you got Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid, but the rest is up for grabs at this point. So, anyways, so let's take a look at his stats, right? So in 2021, he played in 12 games, 43 tackles, 11 PBUs, 2 interceptions, and a 67.9 completion percentage when targeted. 2022, 17 games, 57 tackles, 11 PBUs, 2 interceptions, and a 56.0 completion percentage. 2023, he played in 17 games again, where he had 63 tackles, 13 PBUs, 2 interceptions, and a 64.7 completion percentage. 2024, he didn't really play as much as he only played in a few games, but I mean, he's not really. I know he got hurt last year, but he's not injury prone. Injury prone means you keep getting hurt over and over and over. In 2021, he only missed 5 games. But other than last season, he played in back-to-back full seasons. So it's not like he's injury prone. Like injury prone means you keep getting hurt and there's nothing stopping. Like you're just gonna get hurt. This is who you are. That's not Asante Samuel. Like he's played in 4 years and only missed games in 2 of them. So like, right, okay. I don't think that's really injury prone, but I'll let y'all be the judge of that. And y'all are so smart. But anyways, so he played so far in his career 46 games where he's had 163 tackles. He's had 35 PBUs, 6 interceptions, and a 61.8 completion percentage. Bleacher Report said this on Asante Samuel Jr. potentially going to New Orleans. That pairing would make a lot of sense as New Orleans is looking to rebuild and could use some help at cornerback after trading Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders in November and letting Paulson Adebo walk in free agency. All right, so let's look at the depth chart for cornerbacks for the Saints. The left cornerback is Isaac Yiadom. Right cornerback, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Your nickelback is Alontae Taylor. CB4 is Quincy Riley. Then CB5 is Rico Payton. CB6, Ugo Amadi. CB7, Dales Beanham. CB8, Rajon Wright. Now let's look at a free agency addition. Isaac Yiadom. 6'1", 188 pounds from Boston College. That's the college he went. In 2024, he had 46 tackles, 1 interception, 6 PBUs. So, and plus, he's back in New Orleans as he used to play. However, let's also, he's in the room. And also, rookie Quincy Riley. And before we keep going, do you think Quincy Riley could start in the Saints cornerback room?
No, not yet. He's not ready yet.
All right, I think he could start, depending on the circumstance. I wouldn't want him starting every single play, but I think he could be a starter if you need him to, if he gets the right practice in him. But Quincy Riley's experience and a productive corner with visible ball skills. He has very good quickness and silenced some speed concerns with athletic testing. And in 2024 in college, had 33 tackles, 3 TFLs, 13 PBUs, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. And Quincy Riley is 5'10" and 3/4 and 194 pounds. And his college was Louisville. However, let's talk about somebody's continued development. Rico Payton, 6 feet, 182 pounds. The college he went to was Pittsburgh State. In 2024, he had 11 tackles, 0 interceptions, and 1 PBU. Let's talk about someone in the star role, which is Alontae Taylor. New scheme will elevate his role as a disruptive playmaker, improved each year. He has stepped up and become a vocal leader during this summer, and his ability to cover, tackle, blitz, and run defend. So he has that ability. And also, Alontae Taylor is up for a contract extension since he was not a first-round pick. He was a second-round pick. He does not get the 5th-year option, so this year is his contract year. And to that, what are your expectations for Mr. Alontae Taylor this season?
I see him being in a big role. They've had him in the slot a lot, so I know they're looking for an outside guy. I mean, you lost me when you said the Isaac Yiadom. I was like, "Ooh, are we that bad?" Yeah, I think so. But yeah. So Alontae Taylor's gonna be fine. He had a handful of sacks last year. He got his hands on a lot of balls. So I like Alontae. He's gonna be good.
Yeah. I made my predictions for Alontae Taylor. I think he's going to finish with 70 tackles, 2 TFLs, 7 PBUs, 2 interceptions, and no forced fumbles. I don't think he's going to really do that. But I think, he's going to have a good season, in my eyes. Now let's look at some free agent cornerbacks in case, the Saints want to explore those options. You got James Bradbury IV, age of 31. Kendall Fuller, who's 30. Stephon Gilmore, who's 34. Asante Samuel Jr. is 25. And as Rasul Douglas, who's 30. So, Asante Samuel Jr., the only guy that's not over 30 or over on the entire list. So, yeah, that's a thing. Anyways, moving on. We got to talk about, do you think the Saints defense will elevate with Brandon Staley calling the plays?
I definitely do. I think Brandon Staley is probably the one hire this offseason, the most underrated hire. I mean, that's really going to be an upgrade. And I think the the Saints defense is going to be one of the best in the league. Maybe even a top 5 defense because of Brandon Staley. He knows what he's doing with some defenses. Not as much as a head coach. We've seen that. But defense, come on now.
Yeah, look, I think Brandon Staley is going to elevate the defense because y'all got to remember when Staley was the defensive coordinator for the Rams back in 2020, they had the best defense in the entire NFL, And he was an outside linebacker coach for the Bears back in 2018, I want to say. It was around that area. Khalil Mack, that's when he had his best season. So, this guy elevates guys. And then with Denver, he made Bradley Chubb great. So, he's had he has a fair share of struggles as a head coach, but he's not our head coach. So that doesn't matter. He's our defensive coordinator. So it's I think he can elevate the guys. I mean, he's been doing it his whole career. And even with the Chargers, I mean, the defense wasn't even that bad with the Chargers, other than that one game that got him fired. But I'm pretty sure they were just out of it by then. So, yeah. So I personally think he will elevate the team. And also, so a lot of people are talking about it. Do you think the Saints lack weapons, or do you think the offensive line is just bad? Because, some people be saying stuff like that. So do you think that the Saints are just lacking major offensive weapons, or do you think the offensive line is that bad where we can't use the weapons, because last year we didn't really have anybody get major, a lot of catches. So
I think the answer to both of those questions is no. I don't think this offensive line is that bad. I think they were unhealthy last year. And I think the weapons were unhealthy last year as well. I mean, talking about Shaheed, talking about Olave, Kamara. I mean, you have, Juwan Johnson. You have weapons. They need to stay healthy, and you need to use them, Kellen Moore. I mean, last year we had a head coach and an offensive coordinator didn't even know what they were doing. And we scored 40 points in the first 2 games.
Yeah. And also a lot of people kept saying last year how the offensive line was so bad that which offensive line in the NFL is going to do great when at least 3 of the guys are hurt every week?
Can't do anything.
Yeah. And okay, our receivers are bad. What receiving room can do amazing when your practice squad guy is a number 1 guy?
I mean, a lot of people, they have those little lines about, well, injuries are part of the game. I mean, I don't see Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they lost, Rice for a little while, but I don't see they lost their whole receiving core. I don't see they lost 3 or 4 offensive linemen. I don't see they lost, running backs, and they did lose their running back early in the year, but that don't matter. Injuries are a part of the game, and it's how you deal with them. But, the Saints got the short end of the straw last year. I mean, we had some injuries. I mean,
yeah. If you look at some of the guys that were hurt last year, we had to play 3 quarterbacks last year.
Taysom Hill, too. I forgot about him.
Yeah. In fact, no, we've had to play 3 quarterbacks. We had to start 3 of them last year due to injury. Alvin Kamara missed the last few games. Our number 1 and our top 3 receivers last year to end the season, Kevin Austin Jr., Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and freaking Dante Pettis.
Does that scare you? You get a opposing team. Does that scare you going into a game against the New Orleans Saints when those are the weapons?
Debo got hurt for the whole season. And that was just on offense. Debo missed the whole season, or the rest of the season after his injury. What do you want us to do? What, you just want us to be invincible? I'm sorry. I understand injuries are a part of the game. I get that. I get that you can't stop it. But name me one team that can do well when your number 1 wide receiver is Kevin Austin Jr.? You got the Bills. They got Khalil Shakir, pretty solid receiver. Chiefs. They had, I know Rasheed Rice got hurt, but they had DeAndre Hopkins. Who else was good last year? The Packers, they were all right. Let's think. Hold on, let me think. Eagles, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. They have two of them. Like Commanders, Terry McLaurin. Bruh. And like people want to say how injuries, injuries are part of the game. I understand that. But the 49ers, weren't they not in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago? Or 2 seasons ago, I guess.
Let me say something about Kevin Austin Jr. He might be a nice guy. He might be a good church-going guy. He prays every night. He's a good, solid guy. But I just don't want to throw the ball to him. I'd rather throw the ball to Shaheed and Olave and Kamara and Taysom Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like crazy. Like whenever a team wins the Super Bowl usually goes to a team that's playing great. Not a team that has to have an entire practice squad field their team every week. I'm sorry, but it's just the facts. And if you don't want the truth, then I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, let's move on. LSU this past week landed the number 1 player, 5-star Lamar Brown. It was either us, Texas A&M, and I'm pretty sure Miami was in the mix too. So how do you feel about Brian Kelly swooping in, getting that boy Lamar Brown to play safety for LSU?
Lamar Brown at safety. Come on now. I mean, Brian Kelly and LSU usually does a good job in recruiting. We get a lot of 4- and 5-star guys all the time. We're always one of the highest teams as far as the pecking order of who had the best class and all that. So I'm not surprised at that. I'm just hope Lamar Brown can develop and be that 5-star safety that we need. I mean, defense was kind of shaky last year. We need some studs back there.
Yeah, like Lamar Brown. Look, I ain't gonna pretend that y'all saying that I watch every single play from Lamar Brown. So I'm not really gonna voice my opinion on it yet. But just LSU used to have one of the best defenses, but for some reason, the last couple of years, they've had probably one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. So please, Lamar Brown, please just get the interception and be happy. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, next up on the pecking order, let's see. ESPN. Let me find it. Hold up. All right, so ESPN, the best news source in the world, or whatever they be saying, they released their offseason grades for all the teams. Hold up. Let me see. And if y'all can already see by the banner, you already know where I'm going with this. As, they decided to come out with their offseason grades from every single team. So, like, a lot of teams, you would expect, like, the Rams, they get an A for that Devontae Adams trade. Like, it's pretty solid. But if I go all the way down, and I mean, like, all the way down, bro, what is going on here? Hold up. The computer wants to be a pain in the... Hold up. Bro, what's going on here? Anyways. Where can this thing stop, bro? But anyways, like, what I'm trying to say is that, like, the Saints, right, their offseason grade was kind of funky. Like, that you remember when you went to school, right, and you would get all the grades, right, from the A to the F?
Yes.
Yeah, well, let me refresh this page. All right. Hold on, I'm trying to find it first because for some reason this computer wants to be so dumb. But anyways, bro, what's going on? Hold up, y'all, bro. I'm gonna find it. Stay with me. Just gotta deal with this. Okay, I clicky. Finally. Now let me scroll all the way down because the Saints are all the way down. All right. Let's see. Okay. Panthers, Cowboys, Falcons. Here we go. Finally. Okay. New Orleans Saints received a D. A D that D. Not for defense, but like D as in something bad. Okay. Their biggest move for the Saints was lucking into Derek Carr's retirement. I mean, that's not really a move, but okay, I guess. The move that I liked, I don't know who I is. I don't know. He could be a complete stranger. He could be a bounty hunter. I don't know. But a move I liked, his words, not mine, still don't know who I is. Drafting quarterback Tyler Shuck at number 40. Okay. A move he disliked is trying to pay Carr before he retired. Okay. That just makes no sense because we didn't try to pay him. We tried to restructure his contract. Okay, it's not like we were giving him a freaking extension. So, anyways, now I'm gonna just read off what they freaking say. The Saints offseason was well, you know what? I could just do it from here. Actually, that would probably be better. Anyways, all right. So, well, first, Dad, do you think the Saints had a good offseason?
I think it was fine. There was no earth-shattering move, and I don't think you needed an earth-shattering move. I mean, it would be nice to bring in some dogs, but all you need to do is get healthy, and you have a good team. You need some competent quarterback play, and you have a good team.
Mm-hmm.
So, let them say what they're gonna say, because we're gonna be like this toward the end of the year. We're gonna be like, "Where y'all at? Where y'all at?" So we stayed healthy all year long, and look what happened: 11 wins.
Yeah. Well, it's like, bro. So, like, in my eyes, the Saints addressed almost every need that they had going into the offseason. Like, that's just me. Like, we totally even forgot. Like, a lot of people forgot that we brought in Brandon Cooks. Like, I mean, that's not a bad addition. Like, Brandon Cooks, I'm pretty sure, like, 3 or 4 years ago had 1,000 yards. Brandon Cooks is a good receiver, man. So this is what ESPN, the best news source on the planet, had to say about the Saints offseason. Yeah. Jerry says FSPN failed sports networks. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Well, ESPN, the best news source on the planet, said the Saints offseason was odd. It started with the retention of general manager Mickey Loomis and the hiring of Coach Kellen Moore. Then a decision to keep Carr. Okay. Let's evaluate that choice in the moment. Kai says, and we brought in Justin Reed this offseason. Yeah, man, like I don't really think Justin Reed is like the guy that a lot of people thinks he is, but I do think he's a solid starting safety. Like, he's not a bad guy to have. Plus, he has that New Orleans, or that Louisiana connection. So it's like, I think he could be a good addition. They'll be eating crow later. Watch. Oh, trust me, I'm going to be watching from above. But anyways, let's see. So at the time, Carr had a fully guaranteed $10 million roster bonus and a non-guaranteed if he remained on the roster in March per overthecap.com. Even if the $10 million was a sunk cost, it wasn't quite. Was Carr worth $30 million to the Saints in 2025? He shouldn't have been. This is a team in a dire cap situation and in need of a rebuild. Saving every penny is what should have mattered. Keeping Carr was a play to pay for mediocrity. Plus, the $10 million roster bonus was subject to offsets. So if Carr had been released and signed to another team for, say, $15 million, then New Orleans would have been off the hook, which was a possible scenario. In the grade above, I'm judging them by the decision they tried to make. The result was better given the surprise retirement. All right, guys, let's not forget. Carr didn't want to take a pay cut but did seek a trade early in the offseason. Now let's continue. With Carr retired, second-round pick Shuck suddenly become an immediate contender to start. Shuck joins a room that includes Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, not for long, and he gives New Orleans hope for a chance at a long-term quarterback solution. That's what the Saints, who rank last in ESPN's preseason FPI rankings, ought to be spending their resources on. Players who can help them for years to come. Now, look, they also, they were also saying something about Chase Young. They didn't like, the Chase Young signing. Here's something that Chase Young said himself. This new scheme is similar to what I played in during my rookie year, lining up in a true 9 technique out on the edge and just penetrating. That's where I feel like I'm at my best. Obviously, the same rookie year that Chase Young won Rookie of the Year. Crazy how that works, right? Chase Young, 6'5", 265 pounds, went to Ohio State last season, played in 15 games, had 44 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. That was his rookie year in 2020. So, Dad, I have a question. How much sacks do you think Chase Young will have this season?
I'm going to give my boy Chase Young 7 sacks.
All right. I think Chase Young personally is going to have 3 sacks, and it's not because I don't think he's going to be able to get sacks. Chase Young is just not a sacking person, okay? He's not a guy that gets sacks. The most sacks he's ever had was 7.5. He's not a guy that gets a lot of sacks. So when people were saying, oh, he's going to get like double-digit sacks last year, I mean, no, that was never going to happen. So I think he's going to get 3 sacks, but this is what Chase Young's great at. Stopping the run, getting pressure. I think that's where he's going to thrive. Yeah, and ESPN also said this on the Saints offseason. Safety Justin Reid is sort of a similar story, though signing Reid to a $10.5 million per year deal is totally fine in a vacuum. Probably even good, but the Saints aren't in a vacuum. Paying tight end Juwan Johnson more than $10 million per year or more than $21 million fully guaranteed feels like too much. So let's look at the Saints safety depth chart. Strong safety, you got Justin Reid, Jordan Howden, and Terrell Burgess. Free safety, you got Tyrann Mathieu, Jonas Anchor, and JT Gray. And you also have Elliot Davidson just saying hi in the backfield. Justin Reid is 6'1", 207 pounds, went to Stanford, so he's smart boy. Remember, he's smart boy. In 2024, he had 87 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 PBUs. And Moore has big plans for Juwan Johnson, too. Juwan Johnson is 6'4", 231 pounds, went to Oregon. In 2024, he had 50 receptions, 548 yards, 3 TDs, as long as receptions, 30-yard game. Juwan Johnson's a good tight end. I don't know why people act like he's just the worst tight end on the planet. So that another question. Who do you think will lead the Saints in touchdowns this season, receiving-wise?
I think it's going to be none other than Chris Olave. I think he's going to stay healthy. He's going to be a number 1 guy. I think he's going to have 8 to 10 touchdowns. And, yeah, Chris Olave.
All right. I think it's going to be Rashid Shaheed because I feel like Rashid Shaheed is a guy that he's so quick to the point where, like, Shaheed was on pace to lead the team in touchdowns a year ago. And also Chris Olave, I think Chris Olave is a phenomenal receiver when healthy. But even, like, whenever he's had mostly healthy seasons, he's not really a guy that gets a lot of touchdowns. Like, his rookie year, I'm pretty sure he had 4. I think his second year, he had, like, 1 or 2. And last year, he had 1. But to be fair, he got hurt. So, Chris Olave, like, he just doesn't really get a lot of touchdowns. So you could be like, well, maybe, we have a new offensive system now, so maybe that'll change. I'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to go with Rashid Shaheed because Rashid Shaheed is just too fast for the guys to catch, bro. So I think Shaheed's going to get at least 9 touchdowns this season. All right, ESPN also said this on the Saints offseason. Before drafting Shuck, the Saints selected tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. at number 9. He allows New Orleans to move Trevor Penning inside, and while young tackles are usually below average players, even when they're first-rounders, having Banks and Felice Fuaga at tackle gives the Saints a chance to put together a nice line in time, one that could help develop a young quarterback. So, yeah, that's basically the entire thing, They don't like Saints offseason, and I don't know why. Anyways, next thing on the list. Do you think Jeremiah Fears looked like the future for the Pelicans? Or do you think, basically, what's your take on the 2 rookies from their first couple Summer League games?
I think they both have some promise. I think they are both playing a little out of control, a little fast. I mean, Jeremiah Fears, you can't turn the ball over 7 times. I mean, you're the point guard. You have to distribute. You have to take care of the ball. And Derek Queen, yeah, he just hasn't found his spot. Where he's comfortable at in the NBA yet. I mean, who could blame him? I mean, going into this summer league, it was only there together for 3 days before the first game, and 5 practices. So, I mean, when you make trades at the trade deadline, it takes a while to gel with your teammates. So that's what they're going through. And, I mean, you can see it all up and down summer league. Any game you can watch how disjointed it is, how there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy play here and there. It's just because they don't have enough chemistry with the teammates yet.
Yeah. Do you remember when Victor Wembanyama started the summer league, his rookie year? You remember?
I don't really recall watching him play, but I might have caught 1 or 2 games.
Well, I remember Wemby. He started his first summer league game. He was bad. Like, I'm talking bad. Like, I'm pretty sure he was like 2 for 13 from the field. He even got posterized. Yes, Victor Wembanyama got posterized. However, Victor Wembanyama is one of the better players in the league right now. So, I'm not saying summer league does not matter. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people, I feel like, overreact to summer league, and I'm not going to overreact, bro. It's like you got guys, like some of the guys that are amazing in summer league, some of them turn out to be busts, and some guys that aren't good in some leagues turns out to be superstars. Like I'm pretty sure like Curry and LeBron, because I was looking at some the other day, those two struggled in summer league. So it does not matter, right? It does not matter on how they start. It's about how you finish. So, yeah. Anyways. Also, LSU did something else this past week as they land rising edge rusher. In fact, hold on. I forgot the name. Hold up. Let me find it. But yeah. Let me see real quick. Let me see who the guy was. I forgot to put the name. All right. Let's see. Who is it? They recruit Trenton Henderson and the Anthony Lafayette or whatever the name is. Yeah. Jeremiah Fierce needs to be a better facilitator. He the floor general for a reason. He just got to do a better job setting up his brothers. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, I was watching a couple games. Like, he turns the ball over a lot, and he's not really an efficient point guard as of yet. Because I'm pretty sure one of the games was like 5 for 15. I don't know. I know he missed like 10 shots the other game. It's like, bro, come on, man. But yeah. Do you think the edge rushers that the LSU's recruited, do you think they could be a hidden gem for the 2026 recruiting class?
Absolutely. I mean, I trust LSU's recruiting. I mean, they've done a fantastic job over and over, year after year. So I do trust their decisions. And if they bring in some edge rushers, then hey, baby, party at the quarterback. Party at the quarterback. Come on.
Yeah, I think LSU is doing a great job recruiting. That's just me though. What storylines do you think will define the Saints in 2025?
Storylines. Definitely Kellen Moore's first time out as a head coach. I mean, I'm looking at that. And, of course, you're looking at the quarterback situation. I mean, those are the obvious things. But other than that, defensively, you want to see who that opposite cornerback, opposite of Kool-Aid is. And, see if this offensive line can stay healthy. That's going to be something I'm looking at.
Yeah, I just want to see how the guys – I think the storyline's going to be like, can the guys like kind of right the ship in their own way? Like, can they adapt to Kellen Moore's system, because they spent 3 years with Dennis Allen's system / Darren Rizzi's system. Can they do the job with Kellen Moore? Like, is a change of scenery what they need? No, I think stuff like that is what's going to define the Saints season and how we're going to be good or bad. Jerry says indeed. Glad you agree, buddy. But yeah, that's a thing. Anyways, I'm going to tell you why I think the Saints offense could be better than you think in the year of 2025. Last year, the Saints scored 40 points in the first 2 games of the season, where the entire team was healthy. Not many injuries on the offensive side of the ball. We got Rashid Shaheed coming back. Chris Olave coming back. You got Tyler Shuck, and Shuck is an older rookie, but he's basically a veteran. So that's why I think the Saints offense is going to be better. Plus, Alvin Kamara, he's like what in his like 10th, like he's like in his 8th or 9th season, no, something like that. So Kamara's the veteran for the guys. I think the offense is going to be better than you think. Dad, do you think the Saints offense is going to be better than people think?
I do think they're going to be better. We talked about the first 2 games last year of people being healthy. We also had a quarterback that a lot of people are saying, well, y'all need to get rid of this bum. You know, you can say whatever you want to say about Derek Carr, but, I mean, like I always say on this show, I mean, if you get rid of your quarterback, you have to have a backup plan. I mean, Saints ain't had a backup plan. I mean, who else you going to put in there to throw the ball around? Alvin Kamara? I mean, come on. So, yeah, I think we will be better in 2025. I think we'll get competent quarterback play. I think people will stay healthy. I'm praying they stay healthy. But, yeah.
Yeah. Also, this past week, Herb Jones landed a $68 million deal with the Pelicans. How's your reaction to that?
Didn't this guy miss 64 games last year? I mean, you give a bag to somebody that missed that many games, you must have something, you know, in mind that we don't know about. You must have had Herb Jones just took the year off or something. I mean, why would you go down this road with a guy that, you know, took like almost a whole season off because he was injured? I don't know.
I mean, why do you think they've kept Zion for this long? They don't care.
I mean, Zion, you know, a number 1 pick in the draft, so you always get a little extra leash. But, you know, Herb Jones is a good player when he's healthy. He's a good 3-and-D guy. But, I mean, is he worth all that bag if he's injury prone? I don't know. We're going to see.
Yeah, I don't really think that I would have gave him the deal. I made a whole video on it. I don't really think I would have gave him the deal yet. I think he still has to earn it. But I mean, look, he's a great defender. He's probably he's definitely the best guard defensively. So like Herb Jones, we're just gonna see how he comes back from his major injury. So, anyways, but other than the rookies, how do you feel the team played in their loss to the Timberwolves? We're gonna get the Timberwolves in first. How do you feel like they played in the Timberwolves loss, 98-91?
It was a good game for most of the game, but you know, we fell kind of flat in that third quarter and got behind and couldn't make up ground. So, you know, it's some league, bro. It's like I said, it's a collection of players trying to make a team, trying to make the G League, trying to put some good stuff on film so they can get an overseas job. But yeah, so they don't have a whole lot of cohesiveness, you know, to look good. So this is, you know, I wouldn't put any money on these games for y'all gamblers out there.
Yeah, Saints. I'm at Pelicans. Missy, I'm just gonna say I understand Summer League. Please don't be turning over the ball. And if you see a guy's blocked you 4 times already, please don't attack him again. Because that Behringer kid is like, bruh. But yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, back to football. Can Mr. Chase Young and Carl Granderson thrive in Brandon Staley's new system? But before you talk, the Saints got to be competitive, got to stay healthy, and the coaching got to be on point. Kellen Moore, first-year head coach. I want to see that dog in him on sidelines. I agree, Kai. I agree. But anyways, back to this. Do you think Chase Young and Carl Granderson can thrive in Brandon Staley's new defensive system?
Absolutely. I mean, you already read the little quote of Chase Young saying he loves his system. He's familiar with it. It's when he's at his best. And Carl Granderson, he's just a dog. He had a breakout year last year. I think he's gonna break out some more this year. I mean, they're gonna be fine in this system.
Yeah, I think with Granderson and Young, they complement each other. That's why I think they're so great. They just complement each other. So I think they're going to do well with Brandon Staley. And also another thing, because ESPN apparently had tight end rankings. I didn't see it, but I heard what they were saying about us. Do you think the Saints overpaid for Mr. Juwan Johnson?
No, I think it's just right. I mean, I'm not trying to count anybody's money. And Juwan Johnson, I picked him to be a breakout player last year, and I think he got banged up as well. So I think his breakout year will be this year. I see him, 80 catches, 8, 9 touchdowns. It's gonna be a good year.
Okay. I don't think they overpaid him or overpaid for him. Look, Juwan Johnson, we're talking about the same Juwan Johnson that literally led our team in touchdowns a couple years ago. Like, people just think he's like bad. It's like he's a great red zone threat. Like, he's a guy that is a big body. He used to play receiver, for crying out loud. He's literally a receiver, or he's literally a tight end in a receiver's body, or a receiver in a tight end body. It's like Juwan Johnson's good, so I don't want to hear all of that. Let's see. All right, the Saints received some great news as the future is bright in New Orleans. All right, as we got notable coaches in the building now. Head coach Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier, defensive coordinator Brandon Staley, special teams coordinator Phil Galliano, run game coordinator TJ Pignetti, wide receivers coach Keith Williams, offensive line coach Brandon Nugent, assistant offensive line coach Jari Evans, and quarterback coach Scott Tolzien, and then defensive lineman coach Bo Davis. And I don't think anybody's going to be poaching our coaching staff because I don't think any of these guys really are the next guys to get a head coaching job. As here's some coordinators who could be head coaches in the near future: Joe Brady, Brian Flores, Josh Grizzard, Vance Joseph, Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Nagy, Zach Orr, and Steve Spagnuolo. And let's get to know Moore. He was a quarterback at Boise State from 2008 to 2011. He was a quarterback for the Cowboys and the Lions from 2012 to 2017. He was the quarterback coach for the Cowboys in 2018, the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys in 2019 to 2022, offensive coordinator for the Chargers in 2023, then most recently was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles in 2024, and he's a creative and innovative offensive mind, and he's only 37 years old. Now let's look at Kellen Moore's offenses. Top 10 in no huddle rate every year, top 10 in neutral pace every year, top 10 in offensive plays per game every year, top 10 in points per game for 5 out of the 6 years, top 10 in yards per game in 5 of the 6 years. So, like, pretty good there. And let's get to know Nussmeier. 4th-round pick by the Saints in 1994. He was an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in college from 2008 to 2017. Tight ends coach for the Cowboys in 2018 to 2019. Quarterback coach for the Cowboys from 2020 to 2022. Quarterback coach for the Chargers in 2023. And quarterback coach for the Chargers in 2024. And also in the 2026 draft, do you think the Saints will be getting the Nuss bus? Obviously, as I'm talking about Gary Nussmeier. Do you think that there's a possibility where we're going to have a coach coaching his son, or a father coaching his son, I guess?
I think there's a very good possibility of that, especially if the Saints get off to a bad start and we lose a bunch of games and Nussmeier has a hell of a season. He could be one of those first quarterbacks taken off the board, and the Saints could be in that number if things go south. I don't think they will go south, so I think we'll be good there. But it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, no, just no. Like, Nussmeier has to prove me all wrong for me to even think about taking him in the first round. Like, we'll have to see. Okay. Well, now let's get to know Brandon Staley. He started his coaching career in college football, and then when he came to the NFL, he was the outside linebackers coach for the Bears in 2017 to 2018. He was the outside linebackers coach for the Broncos in 2019. Defensive coordinator for the Rams in 2020, was the head coach for the Chargers in 2021 to 2023. Obviously didn't do well there, but then was the assistant head coach for the 49ers in 2024. Let's look at Staley's defense for the New Orleans Saints. He's expected to run a 3-4 base scheme, which, for those that don't know, 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, 4 DBs. Let's look at core principles. Versatility and flexibility. He wants to be able to defend all types of offenses. And the hire of Bo Davis is huge for the defensive line. So how you feeling, Dad? What do you think about the new Saints coaching staff? You like it? You don't like it? How you feeling?
I like it, but there's a whole lot to prove here. I mean, I do like the names they brought in, but like I say, we don't know a lot about these guys. All we know is it's a change from what we had, and that's was a necessary change. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to give these guys a little time, a year or so, but we're gonna need to see some results soon.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say we'll see. Okay, because I was even hyped up about when we got Dennis Allen, so we'll see. Anyways, Dad, should the Saints move on from Taysom Hill? Yes or no?
If you could still get a year or two out of Taysom Hill, I'd say keep him, try to get him healthy, man. He is a dog, especially against those Falcons. I mean, he is the Falcons' daddy, I believe. He has his
Yeah.
best games in the Georgia Dome or even in the Superdome playing against the red and black. So, yeah, you definitely keep Taysom Hill if he can still do it.
Yeah, funny enough, Dad, 2020, right? Everybody in Atlanta was like, man, y'all about to lose Drew Brees in a year, bro. I hope you enjoy the last year of beating us. But in 2020, when Drew Brees was hurt, Drew Brees played 0 games against Atlanta. In fact, the starting quarterback that year was Taysom Hill, both games against Atlanta, and we won them both. Atlanta fans were dreaming about Drew Brees not being behind center, and they couldn't even beat Taysom Hill once. And that's back when they had guys like Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Grady Jarrett. They couldn't even beat Taysom Hill. So, man, get out of here. But yeah, however, I would not move on from Taysom Hill, but here's why they may have no choice. I'm not saying this is confirmed, but Hill is not getting any younger, so if you want to release him to save up cap, then I could understand it. But I personally wouldn't. But let's do some breaking down. Pro Football Hall of Fame case for Marquez Colston. So, I'm pretty sure Colston's also going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. But, Dad, in your opinion, do you think Colston should be going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame or not?
I don't think he will because he doesn't have that flash with him. And he didn't do it for a whole lot of years. I mean, he was really good on top of his game for a short period of time, really. But when he was on top of his game, he was a dog. But I don't think a whole lot of the people that vote for the Hall of Fame, I don't think a whole lot of these guys realize that.
Yeah, I think Colston might get into the Saints Hall of Fame, but I don't think again the Pro Football Hall of Fame because, like you said, that you can freaking just be here for a cup of coffee in the Saints Hall of Fame, right? Like that's how Tracy Porter got in. So it's I think he's definitely going to get in the Saints Hall of Fame. But the NFL Hall of Fame is for guys. I think Colston goes in the Hall of Very Good, right? Guy that was pretty good through his career. But when you think of Hall of Fame, you think of guys like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, guys like that. Marquez Colston was never on that level. He was definitely a pretty solid receiver for his time in New Orleans, but his career receiving, 711 receptions, 1,102 targets, 9,759 yards, 13.7 average, 72 touchdowns, his longest reception being an 86-yard gain, 506 first downs, and running the ball. He had 2 carries for 7 yards, 3.45 average, and his longest run was a 6-yard gain. Good job. And he had 10 fumbles where he lost 7 of them. I understand, he was a 7th-round pick back in 2006, 252nd overall from Hofstra. But that's not really Hall of Fame numbers. But we'll just have to see. Maybe they let him in, but if they do let him in, he's not going to be in for anytime soon. So, the Hall of Fame class has to be weak for him to get in. So that's just me. But anyways, last thing before we head out, do you think that Ori Williams, who's a guy on the LSU's offensive line, I think, or coach, I don't know, he's not, but do you think LSU's offensive line could be a secret weapon for this team, especially Ori Williams?
I don't know. We lost a couple guys to the draft and graduation, so we're gonna be replacing a few guys on that offensive line. So we'll see how it goes. But like we said earlier, LSU does a heck of a job recruiting. So I'm sure they'll have some talented kids in there. It might just take them a little while to get adjusted.
Yeah, we'll see. That's just me. But Dad, do you have anything else?
Not much. Go out and check me out on Mic'd Up YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit those likes, and I'm be coming out with some new videos soon.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Let's see who's in this chat. All right. So shout out to Jerry G, the Nola Chop Podcast, Kai the Great 84, and Connor. Yeah, and Connor. Shout out to y'all for joining the show. As Kai ends us with much love, my brothers. Much love, Kai. And just so you know, I'm gonna be winning your fantasy league. Just so you know. Just so you know. But anyways, yeah, you can always find me at Hurricane Mike, keeping Kyle Phelps, and keeping real Who That Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn the bell on so you don't miss any future uploads. And Dad, we're gonna leave them as always. We're the Who Dat, and don't be a what?
Don't be a black and red fan. Don't be those Falcon fans, man.
All right. Yeah, don't be them. All right, guys. Don't be them, man. They delusional.